Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Unwrapped. I'm Tasha Pierce. Thank you for joining me here at the intersection where pop culture meets common sense to talk about the continued fallout of I don't know what we're calling it. Are we calling it SignalGate? Signal Gazi? So on this side of the tracks is SignalGate. The fallout of SignalGate is still happening. Now, as we expected from this administration, there will be no accountability. There will be no repercussions for using an unauthorized server to share not just sensitive information, but information about military airstrikes, their targets, and everything that goes along with it. And as if that's not bad enough, with an unauthorized person on the chat. So we saw Tulsi Gabbard and John Ratcliffe sit in front of Congress, and they were there for something totally different, something that was already on the calendar. And our senators asked a bunch of questions like, hey, since we got you here, let's go ahead and ask these questions. Now, I'm going to share the clip of one of our senators. Yeah, Senator Mark Warner of Virginia. He is questioning Tulsi Gabbard about her presence on this chat. So we'll see that in a moment. Then we're going to get into exactly how unserious this administration is because they're making this about politics and they're making it something partisan when incompetence and ineptitude comes in all flavors, baby. You just happened to pick the most vanilla, and I mean that literally, of ineptitude that you could possibly have. You can't blame it. You can't blame this on diversity. You can't blame this on equity. You cannot blame this on inclusion. This is pure ineptitude at its finest. And I'm going to show you an example of the whataboutism that we see it very often from this administration. And then I'm going to share a way that you can get involved this week. So let's get into it.
I want to go back to what I addressed at the outset. I mean, this was not only sloppy, it not only violated all procedures, but if this information had gotten out, American lives could have been lost. The Houthis had this information, could reposition their defensive systems. So I want to get a little more information about this. Director Gabbard, did you participate in the group chat with Secretary of Defense and other Trump senior officials discussing the Yemen war plans?
Senator, I don't want to get into the specifics.
Ma'am, were you on? You're not going to be willing to address. So you're not, are you denying, Matt, will you answer my question, ma'am? You were not TG on this group chat?
I'm not going to get into the specifics.
So you refuse to acknowledge whether you were on this group chat?
Senator, I'm not going to get into the specifics.
Why are you going to get into the specifics? Is it because it's all classified?
Because this is currently under review by the National Security
Council. It's all classified? If it's not classified, share the text now.
Share the text now. That is a running theme throughout the questioning. Each senator, when they were speaking with either John Ratcliffe or Tulsi Gabbard, said if this information is not sensitive, if it is not classified, share the text now. Neither took him up on this offer. Now, it could potentially be because in Signal, you can set these messages to expire, to disappear, go away, poof, they're gone in a certain time frame. This particular chat group chose to have those messages disappear after 7 days. So, if we had not had this kind of imposter on the chat, we would have never known anything about this Signal chat. That presents a problem. The biggest problem is that these things are supposed to be preserved. Any conversations such as this should be preserved under the Presidential Records Act. And it appears that this administration is getting around preserving this information by having these conversations on unauthorized servers, and they just got caught with their hands in the cookie jar. That is a huge issue for us, the people, because we don't know what they're planning. If there are no records of what they talk about in these closed door meetings, we don't know what they're planning. Anything that they do will be taking us by surprise. This is not the most trustworthy group of people. So any administration who says that our conversations about military airstrikes need to be held on an unauthorized server, we need to wonder what else they're hiding.
As the White House previously
Is it classified or non-classified information on this text?
I can confirm.
Director Radcliffe, were you on the group chat?
Senator, I was on a Signal messaging group.
So you were the John Radcliffe on that chat?
I was.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can I provide some context, Senator, to that?
Yes, but I've got a series of questions.
Well, but I think it's important because at the
Mr. Radcliffe, I would let you finish, but I don't think it's important. What you're about to say is a bunch of word salad that has nothing to do with the question that you were asked, especially about the classified aspects of this information that was released. What John Radcliffe was about to embark upon was a bunch of whataboutism. And that is this administration's one of their key strategies. Anytime they get caught up in some bullshit, they want to go into, well, what about this? So what he was about to say is that Signal, the app, was downloaded on his work computer when he got his position as the director of the CIA. And he is about to say that since it was there, that means we can use it. So that means that Joe Biden and them was using it. But this question isn't about Joe Biden. This question is about John Ratcliffe and Tulsi Gabbard and the rest of the people that were on that text chain. Were you guys discussing classified material? Now, we at least get around to the point where Ratcliffe says the information wasn't classified. Tulsi Gabbard then picked up a little nerve from John Ratcliffe saying that it wasn't classified, and then she began to say it's not classified. But in just the case of this whataboutism, that is when we see later Donald Trump Jr. decides that he's going to throw his hat in the ring and say his piece. And his piece was talking about the political affiliation of the reporter. As you can see here, the reporter is allegedly a Democrat, and he allegedly made donations to the Democratic Party, which would make it even more strange that you would invite this person on this extremely sensitive chat. It's further, it was meant to be a gotcha, but it just further demonstrates the ineptitude of these people and how even when you have time to think of a suitable lie, if any lie can be suitable, you still come up with just stupid shit. It's just stupid.
And finally, just please, so my communications, to be clear, in a Signal message group were entirely permissible and lawful and did not include classified information.
Well, we will make that determination, because if it's not classified, share the text with the committee. Let me go on. Director Gabbard, you are the security executive and set access guidelines for classified information. Did you contact the defense secretary or others after this specific military planning was put out and say, hey, we should be doing this in a SCIF?
There was no classified material that was shared in that.
So then
Signal
if there was no
chat.
classified material, share it with the committee. You can't have it both ways. These are important jobs. This is our national security. Bobbing and weaving and trying to, filibuster your answer. So please answer the question. If this was Director Gabbard, if this was a rank and file intelligence officer who did this kind of careless behavior, what would you do with them?
Senator, I'll reiterate that there was no classified material that was shared in that
And if there's
signal.
no classified materials, share. And then if there's no classified materials, then you can't even answer the question whether you're on the chat. This is strangely familiar, and I think my colleagues will remember when you couldn't answer the question, is Edward Snowden a traitor? Now I have serious doubts about anyway. Director Gabbard, I'm going to give you this. Tweeted just 11 days ago, and I'm quoting you. Any unauthorized release of classified information is a violation of the law and will be treated as such. So if this information is classified, what are you going to do?
Senator, 2 points here. First of all, there's a difference between inadvertent release versus
Careless and sloppy.
malicious leaks of classified information. The second point is there was no classified information that was on
And the
this
information
signal
committee
group
should get
chat.
that information. Director
And the
Patel,
National Security
Director
Council
Patel,
has
my time's
reviewed
about out,
how
and I'm
this
going to use
occurred.
my 12 seconds up the chairman came. Director Patel, has the FBI launched any investigation of this?
Senator, I was just briefed about it late last night, this morning. I don't have an update.
I would like to get an answer by the end of the day.
There was lots more. There was lots more exciting footage that I could have pulled from this hearing, but this is enough to get your appetite whet to know that we are going to be dealing with this for a long time. Now, it appears that everybody's job is safe right now, unless, of course, we make some noise and we demand some answers. And I would like for us to basically do that. Do not be fooled by this administration. And I know if you're here listening to me, you ain't going to be fooled by this administration. This administration uses that talk fast, accuse others, and waste time. That is their MO and how they get around accountability. They talk fast about a whole bunch of nothing. They accuse others of the things that they themselves are doing, and then they waste a whole bunch of time. See, when we saw Pete Hegseth, when he was getting off the plane coming from Hawaii, and he was kind of ambushed by these reporters who wanted to ask questions about this Signal chat and whether or not he shared classified information. What did he do? He started talking real fast. He started saying stuff about Russia. He deflected. Then he started making accusatory remarks about the author of the piece, John Goldberg. He started making very accusatory and defamatory remarks about that man. And then he said there was no classified information shared in that chat. So at least we have 3 out of the God knows how many people there were on the chat. We've got 3 people locked in to the story that there was nothing classified about those chats. Tulsi Gabbard, John Ratcliffe, and Pete Hegseth. Now, each one of them should be terminated. You got the Director of National Intelligence. That is our freaking Nick Fury. If you're a Marvel head, you know what I'm talking about. That's the keeper of the secrets. And the Secretary of freaking Defense on the doggone Signal chat, willy-nilly talking about state secrets. If this were a regular administration, those 3 people would have resigned or have been fired already 2 weeks into the job, 3 weeks into the job. Because I keep forgetting, Bougie Barbie, one of my members of my channel, she almost, when she made a comment, and it reminded me that this has only been 2 months. It feels like we have literally been living in this hell for years. It's only been 2 months. In 2 months, this administration has managed to outdo 50 years of national intelligence keeping. This is amazing. So yes, this administration, of course, like I said, talk fast, accuse others, waste a whole bunch of time, and deflect, deflect, deflect. We saw a lot of stuff come out. A lot of executive orders were signed today, March 25th. I got to make sure I give y'all the dates because so much is happening so fast. So today is March 25th, 2025, and a lot of executive orders were signed today. Some of them need their own episode, and we will have a talk about what it would mean if some of this stuff was actually to go through, you know. But yeah, if this continues with the SignalGate situation here, John Goldberg of The Atlantic will have no choice but to release more of the info that was in the Signal chat. He is being very discreet, very discretionary about what he has released already because he's trying to protect national intelligence. He's trying to protect the assets that we have out in the field that are supposed to be covert, but that were literally named in this Signal chat. He is being the adult in the room. He's being the adult in the room. And I can't blame him. I'm not mad at him for not releasing this information because any responsible person wouldn't. But they are trying to damage his reputation because of their asinine idea that you think that you can talk about wartime situations on Signal. That was a lot. I'm going to talk to you guys about an upcoming protests, April 5th. Mark your calendars. If you are able to join the protest, is going to be one in all 50 states. There will be sit-ins and, of course, protests in all 50 states. We're going to remove, reverse, and reclaim. Remove corrupt politicians from office, reverse the damage, and reclaim our democracy. That is Saturday, April 5th, 2025. There are organizing resources and adding your own actions to www.5050.one. I'm going to put the link in the show notes so that you guys can, if you want to join an event that is already existing, or if you want to set up your own, that information is going to be in the show notes. If you can't get out to an event, make sure that you are calling your representatives, your senators, anybody and everybody to make sure that they know that you are very interested in what's going on in our democracy. And we are vetoing this administration on April 5th, 2025. So let me know in the comments what you think about SignalGate first and foremost, and then also let me know if you are going to be participating in any of the protests, or if you are going to serve in some other way. With all that, I've got nothing else. I enjoy sharing knowledge. I do not spill tea. I'm not that tea girl because you deserve so much more than just tea. Peace. See you in the next one.
Every click, every share, y'all make us fly. Together we shine brighter than the sky. From shout outs to comments, we see every word. Y'all the reason Tasha's voice gets heard. Subscribers growing, lighten up the day. With your support, we'll never fade away. Thank you, Unwrap fam, you keep us strong. Keep us strong. Your love and your faith help us move along. Help us move along. Every click, every share, y'all make us fly. Y'all make us fly. Together we shine brighter than the sky. Brighter than the sky. Roll call for the peeps who keep it alive. Patron super chats all here on the drive. Tasha got the mic, but you fuel the vibe. This channel's a party and y'all keep it live.
Monthly supporters, give y'all a cheer. Live stream energy, you bring the gear. Every episode's magic, cause of y'all's touch.